Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Timonspodcast. I'm your host, Timon, and this is my podcast, Cool Conversations with Authentic People. And man, do I have a conversation for you guys. But first, let's get to some business. That's right. Timonspodcast is on Twitter, and Timonspodcast is on YouTube. You should definitely check out both of those places. Like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And that's the business. Now I'm back with an awesome conversation. Guys, I got to sit down with my good buddy, old friend Joe Mehl. He is in my phone as Bromance, and I don't think that'll ever change. He is such a great dude. We had such a good conversation, and I just love to see him evolving and doing the things that he's doing. You don't want to miss this conversation. We talk about just the award he just won, which was massive, and all the different things that he's done to get to where he's at. And so, man, I'm so thankful for him. Go check out his stuff he's doing, Alliance RV, on all social medias, and yeah, check him out. Enjoy this conversation, and guys, we'll catch you on the next Timmons podcast. But for now, let's hear Joe. Welcome.
Hey, what up, Timon?
What up, Joe? Welcome to Timmons Podcast, everybody. And I'm so excited you're here, dude.
I'm excited you guys are here.
Yeah, dude. So I saw some stuff on Facebook, and I was like, dude, I gotta get Joe on the podcast again.
Yeah,
so
man.
You've been on a couple times.
I've been. Yeah, I think this is number 3 for me now.
Yeah. You and Scott one time. You know,
me and Scott.
That was
then,
fun.
well, I technically was with Ryan, the Alliance one we did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I still have that video. I need to cut that still.
That's okay.
Yeah. Life got me.
That's how it goes, dude. Well, 2 kids.
Yeah.
It gets
2 kids, sports, busy job,
Yeah.
active wife, just going. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, just bumping. So,
Yeah.
Well, I saw that you got awarded 40 under 40.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. So every year in Las Vegas, there's a big conference called RVDA, the RV Dealer Association. And then there's a couple different award ceremonies that take place during the week-long event. And then the 40 under 40 is sponsored by RV Pro magazine, and you're nominated by whoever nominates you, and then you're selected by a crew. And I think they said they had like 200 or 250 submissions.
Oh, wow.
And then they narrow it down to 40 people under 40.
Wow.
Doing big things. And everyone on that list is doing big things in different ways, so it's really cool to be even
Thrown
included
in
with them.
Yeah.
I always say it's like I found a unicorn in my backyard. It's like, man, it's rare. It's hard to do something like that, and you just don't know you're doing it, right? Like you're just grinding every day. Yeah. Grind. But I live for that grind. And then when you get like an award like that, it's special. It means something cool.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's other people are seeing what you're doing.
Yeah.
They're like they're noticing the grind, and then they're like, dude, there's not a lot of people doing this.
Yeah.
Here's an award for it.
Yeah, and it's come such a long way. Like when I started at my previous job, I was just the social media guy.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
How powerful is social media. I mean,
oh yeah.
You go way back to like the early 2010s. Egypt used it to topple democracy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's crazy, right?
So
they used Twitter, didn't they?
They used Facebook, actually.
Oh, really?
Facebook Messenger to communicate all their communication. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So
it's super powerful. So what I decided to do was, just go all in on it as hard as I could and see what we could make happen.
Yeah. Dude, okay. So first, I want to talk about that story because I've seen it play out.
Sure.
I've seen the whole, how it's all gone. But first, before we even get that, tell people who you are and where you're from.
Okay.
Give us some background on who you are real quick. And then we'll jump into that if that's cool.
All right, yeah. So I'm Joe Mehl. Born and raised Goshen, Indiana. Mm-hmm. Went to IUPUI down in Indianapolis. Got a degree from IU.
In what?
In liberal arts, but mainly computer science.
Okay.
I have a minor in anthropology. Cultural anthropology.
You're using those a lot.
So, what I did from there actually is I got married to my wife Amanda right after college. Like we graduated, got married a couple days later. And then shortly after that, we moved down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Mm-hmm. We're there for about a year. And then
so I can't handle this.
It's just different.
Florida man's real.
I'm a Midwest boy,
yeah.
And I love the Midwest. I love the seasons. Florida's hot. The bugs are as big as this microphone. My wife wasn't digging that. And so we ended
You're
up
the only married couple in Fort Lauderdale.
that, that's a fact. Like unless you were over 50.
Really? Yeah.
It was challenging to find friends that were our age that weren't like just wanting to go clubbing every night.
Yeah.
And like I had to get up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock every day, and I was like, yeah, no, not my style. I'm a Midwest boy. Like, let's rake the yard together.
Yeah. If you guys heard of cornhole.
Yeah, right. So then moved back. I worked at a government agency for a little while, trying to find my feet, doing like web development and some stuff.
Was that back in Goshen?
So I came back to Goshen, worked in South Bend, moved to Goshen, moved back, and then worked at Digital Hill, and that's when we met.
Yeah,
when I was at Digital Hill
at the winery.
I
remember that day.
Yeah. You were with
I think Benji, another one of my buddies. And you were with Ryan.
Yeah. Me and Ryan, we were celebrating Ryan to leave Indiana.
Yes.
I was like, get out of here, go find yourself, man.
Yeah. Go rage.
And you and I met, connected, hit it off. You worked across the street at Minnow Travel.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we started getting lunches and stuff.
And you were plugged in then too to the community.
I was trying, so I was a different version of myself back then. Strategically, like when you're young, you don't really know what you're doing. Like, you want something and you know you want to reach for this goal, but you don't know exactly how to make your own path to get there.
Yeah.
And that's been my whole life, coming from, I think, 6 generations of lawyers in my family.
Yeah.
I was like, not for me. Thank God I had amazing parents that, put a lot of self-confidence in me and never pushed me one direction or the other.
That's cool.
And so
you knew law was not
for me.
Yeah.
No, not a huge conflict guy. Don't love just going in it for no reason. Now I can do it. I've learned to do it.
Yeah.
But
it's a good skill.
It's a great skill.
I hear you.
So found Digital Hill, web development, marketing, fell in love with it. Started really wanting to get into actually a guy named Casey Neistat. You guys might know Casey Neistat.
Yeah.
Big YouTuber, huge YouTuber back in the day. Still big, relevant today. Not as big as he once was.
Drops knowledge,
creates amazing pieces of content. This was long before vertical was even like a thing. This was just YouTube was YouTube, Facebook was Facebook, Instagram was Instagram. Like, they had no connectivity between them.
Right.
Casey got me really into like video creation and drones and so eventually found myself at a place called Vala. Was there for about a little over a year and a half. Had a great time. Really plugged into the community there. Yeah. I was all about going to the chamber events and all the nonprofit events and just really plugging in and
connecting with people, doing things.
Yes.
In sales, you were sales at that point.
I was sales at that time, but
you're sales at Digital Hill too.
I was sales at Digital Hill too. Yeah. So I have a lot of sales experience in marketing.
Yeah.
And what ultimately happened is we sold a nice big project to Forest River. I made some really good friends over there with the account that we had. We had major success. We helped launch a brand over there. Major success. And then they slowly started recruiting me. And I was just like, no, I really don't want to go into RV sales. I don't want to go into RV sales. I had so many friends, dads, that were in RV sales, and I know how much they travel, and I know how stressful it is, and I know
it's big here.
It's
Goshen.
huge here. I mean, this is the RV capital of the world.
Yeah.
So really, anywhere from 90 miles, 100 miles from Goshen, you're in it.
Yeah.
And then what ended up happening is my wife and I were having our second kid, Ruby, and I was working 90 plus hours a week with Vala. I was just grind. I couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
I was literally like addicted to the grind.
Wow.
And my wife...
Was that like phone call, or were you doing editing too?
Phone calls, helping develop marketing plans, helping write proposals. I mean, our proposals were pretty in-depth. So I had to take a lot of time to listen to the customer, be like, what do you need?
Right.
And then come back to the team and be like, okay, here's what they said they need.
Yeah. Here's what we can do.
Here's what we can do. Do we have anything that we can offer that we think will help them?
Yeah.
Right? And like, not always like they know what they want. They know their business the best, but how can we actually help grow their business?
Yeah.
And not everyone knows marketing. You're either sometimes working with the VP of sales, or you're working with the VP of marketing, or you're working with like a COO.
Right.
And you don't know everyone's a marketer, everyone's a salesperson.
Right.
But you don't know their depth of what they need to know and how well they know their audience.
Yeah. And some of that's siloed, right?
Super siloed.
So you're talking to one person and they give you just a 10% glimpse of what it is.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're trying to sell a package to the whole company.
Yeah. And
right.
so we would end up, our niche was social.
Mm-hmm.
So we would typically do like a monthly social plan. And I was just so devoted to the relationships with the client and really trying to just constantly be in there. And some of my stuff would take 6 months to develop out.
Wow.
And I would walk into a new prospect's office and my first thing is look around and try to figure out like, where are their passions? Do they have kids? Do they have family? Do they like cars? Do they, and I wouldn't even talk about sales my first meeting.
Yeah. Just connecting.
Yeah. Connecting 100%. Yeah. And so I was
relationship building
at Valley. I always called it planting seeds because our logo was a leaf.
Yeah,
it made sense. It was funny. And so eventually, what ends up happening is my wife kind of is like, "Hey, you're stretched to the max. We're having a second kid on the way. You need to stop. You need to not work as much." Yeah. And I'm like, "But I'm like in it. I can't just stop working." So I listened to her. I was like, happy wife, happy life. Mm-hmm. So I actually took a step back and took a role at the community foundation. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that I didn't love Vala. Like, I love Vala. I could have stayed there for a long time. I enjoyed the grind. The people were awesome. And then community foundation, this opportunity raised became the marketing director over there. Mm-hmm. And so I went and did that for a while, found out that nonprofit was a little too slow paced for me. While at the same time always having Forest River in the back of my ear, right? Mm-hmm. Like hey, let's get lunch. Hey, let's get coffee. Hey, let's, and finally it panned out to where they're like, okay, well, you will be the marketing guy for a guy named Doug Getter, his whole division, which is 38 brands.
Wow.
And so I was
that's a little more fast paced.
I was like, all right, so that feels like Vala, like a lot of accounts.
Yep.
But I'm one company. And let's see what can happen. Let's see where this goes. Yeah, I'm like, I want to get back into a fast-paced environment. Yeah. And I didn't want to be a salesperson. Like, no offense to the sales team, but I knew that travel life wasn't for me.
Yeah, it's a grind.
It's a grind, and like I have travel now, but like I don't travel near as much as these sales guys do, or sales women.
And you go to the fun stuff.
I go to the bigger events. Yeah. So like the Tampa RV Super Show in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The spots that no one wants to go to, of
right.
course.
Yeah. And I listen to the sales guys and they're like, man, we just drove from Indiana down to Iowa, down to Nebraska, down to and I'm like, and then you drove all the way home?
Yeah. No, thank you.
And I've done driven like we drove to Hershey.
Right.
Like that was fun, but there was a couple of us and we did it more as like hey, let's team build more than anything.
Yeah.
But no, so Forest River then came along and I was there for very close to 4 years.
Wow.
Loved it. I loved Forest River.
Yeah.
Had a tremendous amount of success over there. But if you're from Forest River, don't take offense to this. But I always, and you've probably heard me say it, but I always said I unburied the bar. The bar was that low. Yeah. Yeah. And so I just came in with my root knowledge that I had in marketing.
And social media that you've been doing.
And sales. And what I found to be one of my unique skill sets is I'm very good at talking between sales, marketing, creative. Like I can go back and forth between the two minds. Yeah. And I can find that happy medium.
Yeah. Understand what they need, what the objective is, and then deliver it.
Yes.
So that both parties are happy.
Yes. Yeah. At a high quality level.
Because the creative mind is literally a different part of the brain than the analytical, sales.
Yes. And sometimes the creative mind doesn't always put themselves in the shoe of the consumer. Right. And the audience. Right. They want to make the coolest or best, highest quality piece they can possibly make, which I love it.
They're trying to do art.
Yes. Yeah. And creative is art. Yeah. But so is sales. Yeah. Different kind of art. Yeah. And so how do you bridge that?
That's crazy.
Yeah. I always when people always ask me like, how do you do it at Forest River? I build bridges, man. That's all I do. I'm just building bridges. Yeah. And so just between all the divisions, I build all the bridges, had a great time, had a lot of success over there.
Yeah. And that's the industry. Forest River is
34 to 40% of the industry is Forest River. Yeah. So they're huge. They have some great leadership over there, great product over there. Yep. And what I ended up doing was just making tons of content, getting all the social dialed in, constantly having stuff. They went from like no social presence to just growing like crazy.
Yeah.
And then everyone else kind of followed suit and hired like a marketing manager at their divisions.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, now I have all these marketing managers.
Oh, wow.
Let's meet regularly.
Wow.
So we started meeting regularly and
sharing
actually
ideas.
developing this like more brand centric identity around Forest River, which was always my goal at the end of the day was how do people know Forest River?
Right. Wow.
It was fun. It was fun. I loved it. It was a challenge.
Yeah.
But you know, I love challenges. Like I said, I live for that grind.
Yeah.
Like
That gets
low
you going.
key, I am like addicted to work. Which you can have worse addictions.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so true.
So what ends up happening is I get a phone call. So when I used to live in Goshen, just literally a mile from where we're doing this podcast right now, I bought a house from a guy named Jeremiah Dumpka. He went to school with my sister. I've known him for years and years and years, more as like a close contact.
Yeah.
But he gave me a call one day, and he's like, "Hey, how are you feeling about Forest River? Like, you doing good there?" And I'm like, "Dude, I love it. Like, they treat me well."
Yeah.
And literally ended the conversation that way. And my wife was actually like, "Don't close doors, Joe." And because I always tell my wife, like, "Don't close doors. Don't close doors. Always leave them open. Like, explore the opportunities.
Yeah.
That's the worst that can happen if you explore an opportunity.
Right.
Say no."
Yeah.
And so I shot him a text back. I was like, "Hey, if you're interested, I'm willing to get lunch with you and let's chat."
Yeah.
So we met one day for lunch. And I'm going to tell the story now because it's kind of funny. I was like, we got to pick a location that like not a lot of Forest River people would potentially be at, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like,
you're working there.
And I did it at lunch at my own time, and
he's kind of courting you a little bit. Right?
Yeah, and so we picked actually B-dubs here in Goshen because we thought we could get in the back far corner.
Okay.
Not the bar, but the far corner.
Yeah.
And I shit you not. Sorry, I cussed.
No, you can cuss all you want.
But dude, full of Forest River people.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there with Jeremiah.
Yeah.
And so we come up
Jeremiah
with this,
is not at Forest River.
He's at Alliance.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
So Alliance, he's at Alliance.
At a different
This was when would this have been? This would have been summer of 2022.
Wow. Okay.
And so we sit there and everyone's coming up to both because they know both of us.
Right.
And
the industry
so
is big, but it's small.
It's
too.
small, yeah. Like everybody.
Yeah.
And so they all come up to us slowly and like, "What are you two doing together?" And I'm like, "Oh, I bought his house. We're both really good friends with our neighbor. We're planning a birthday surprise party."
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, come up with something.
Yeah, so it was pretty funny.
Oh,
We came up with that on the spot, and so we weren't able to actually talk about it. We just ended up shooting the shit for 45 minutes, ate lunch, and left.
Yeah.
And then
he was doing exactly what you used to do at Vala.
Yeah,
right? He's
yeah.
just relationship building with you.
100%.
Like,
yeah. I mean,
how are your kids?
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah,
all
we
right.
just caught up. For
He's
45
planting
minutes.
seeds.
He's planting
Exactly.
seeds. Yeah. So anyway, one thing led to another, and some text. It mostly then started taking place through text.
Yeah.
And so he got me in this group chat with Coley and Ryan, the owners, the Brady brothers.
Who've been on the? Well, Ryan was on this.
Ryan was on this podcast. Yep. And then what we ended up happening was we ended up meeting for dinner, or it was early morning breakfast one day. It was like 6:30, 7 o'clock. Breakfast.
Some people's dinner, but yours breakfast. Yeah. Most
Yeah.
people's breakfast.
Yeah. And so then it was I was just, hey, here's my pain points of where I'm at now. Here's the red tape that I run into. Here's some of my frustrations.
Yeah.
Not asking you to remove those, but what's your thought on those?
Yeah.
I got some of the best answers that I've ever heard in my life.
Wow.
And, Ryan and Coley and Jeremiah and Ab, they just like, I think you're the right fit. I think you have the right personality. I think you have the right knowledge set. I think you have the right experience.
Wow.
We're willing to take this big risk on you.
Wow.
And so, I then was able to finally approach. I was like, hey, I'm going to do this. Let's go. Review the contract. Approach my boss, Doug. And I was like, hey, I'm going to be going to Alliance. I made my decision. I'm pretty firm on my decision. And, he tried very, very hard to keep me.
Yeah.
And it just ultimately at the end of the day, Forest River wasn't the right fit for me anymore.
Yeah.
I had grown as a different person. I'm kind of a rule breaker. I'm not gonna say kind of. I am.
Yeah.
I'm very much an ask for forgiveness person.
After. Right. Right.
Right.
Do the thing and then ask for forgiveness.
Yeah. And
That's great.
that doesn't always vibe well at big organizations.
Yeah.
And here at Alliance, I'm thriving. Like I'm still the same person I am. I've shifted a little bit. I still love my community, but I decided I can't do community, family, and work. And so going back into that a little bit, that was the biggest reason I chose to go to Alliance. I was being pulled in 3 directions, and I could not do it.
Wow.
So I had to admit to myself that I can only do 2 things: be a really good dad and be a really good husband and father, and be really good at my job. I couldn't. The third one I couldn't. So I decided to take a step back and okay, I still love my community.
You were so plugged in.
I'm still going to participate in my community.
Yep.
But
just in a different role.
At a different role.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because going back to the Vala days and even the Digital Hill days, you were plugged into the community. You even ran for council?
I ran for city council at one point. I actually started the Goshen Young Professionals, which I think is now called the Emerging Leaders.
Yeah.
Won the Goshen Young Professional of the
Doing
Year
good for Goshen?
Point. We had Doing Good for Goshen for each other. I still love those episodes.
Those are great.
Some of those episodes are some of my most creative editing ever.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
It was cool to see because you were just like, let's do this. Let's have fun. You were vlogging at that time. I remember you showing me a video of you just recording a train.
Yeah.
Going by. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're just let's look at Goshen in a creative way.
Yeah.
So
it's funny. So those podcasts are still out there, and people will randomly find them. And they're like, oh, we were trying to learn about you before, especially if they're trying to from Alliance, so trying to court me to be a vendor of ours in some capacity, and they're like, oh, well, we found your YouTube videos and we think that yeah, it's interesting to find those. I'm gonna leave them up forever. They're fun.
Yeah. That's a part of history.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's part of the journey of Joe.
So I'm still on the Facebook page and I'll see people comment every couple of years someone says I'm like, okay, yeah.
The free candy, that was a good one.
That one did numbers.
That one was good. I like that one. We had fun.
That was cool.
Yeah, so that's kind of the journey of Joe Mehl, and then came to Alliance, and they had a great Facebook group page.
Yeah.
Which a Facebook group page is awesome to have, but you can't just have that.
Yeah.
You need all of it.
Right.
And
so you help flush that all out.
Yeah. Then. And I know that you'll listen to many marketers say, oh, you focus on one, become really good at one. And I'm telling you now, if you are in the marketing field, do not focus on one. Focus on 5. Pick 5. Go all in on them, and you're going to get better.
Yeah. They'll all grow. Probably.
They're all going to grow. Reels right now for Facebook and Instagram are the hottest thing on the planet. You post a reel, I guarantee you're going to get some traction.
Yeah.
You might not get traction right away. It might be 90 days from now.
Yeah.
But keep posting regularly.
Wow.
So Alliance went from collectively to not including the Facebook group. I think it was just under 8,000 fans as a whole. Yeah. From all main 5 platforms we were on. And we're over 200,000 now.
Wow. So that's
less than a year.
That's huge.
And we've only, I think as far as ad spend goes, we spend to get viewership, not growth. We've spent $2,200 on ads.
Wow.
In the last 11 months.
Yeah. For 200K more viewers, 2,200. That's
so a huge
200K more fans.
Over 99% of it's organic.
Wow.
Huge traction on TikTok, huge traction on Instagram. Got a great following on Facebook, grew that significantly, and obviously we're on LinkedIn and things like that. They have a little bit harder organic traction going. Doubled our YouTube profile.
Wow.
So I went all in. YouTube is long format.
Yeah.
We still post shorts of quick tours and things like that.
Yeah,
but we have more long.
They have that
10-minute plus
still
kind of
real feeling there on YouTube as well. I get sucked into it.
Yep. And really my validation really came at Hershey back in late September. It was my first oh wow, okay, I'm actually having a real impact. So when I was at the show, people would come up to me recognizing me from social media.
Wow.
Like, oh, you're the TikTok guy, or you're Joe, or you're like, they would find me and be like, hey, I want to talk to Joe. He was on that YouTube video. Like,
wow.
Yeah, because I also work with all of our influencers. So anyone that has a social following whatsoever, I don't care if you have 2 followers or 500,000 followers.
Yeah.
I usually end up in their videos because I'm working with them, giving the plant tour, showing them new products, things like that. Because
building that relationship.
Yeah, I always invite them in first to create a video for us, so that way you can get out and help get some traction.
Wow.
Wow. So that was really my first form of like real validation, was back in late September. I was just listening to all the people, and like for my boss to come up to me and be like, they asked for you, and I'm like, not you. Like, you're more famous than me.
Yeah. You started this company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love Alliance. I used to say I bleed forest green, but now I bleed cayenne blue.
Really? Yeah.
And it's all about relationships, though. Like, Ryan and Coley just know how I'm going to react. They know that if I'm not doing something right, they know how to approach it.
Yeah.
They've never approached it in a negative way. They're just like, hey, is there a better way we can do that?
Yeah.
And they just challenge me to rethink what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And, then they don't always say like, hey, that's bad. They might be like, hey, why don't you talk to our customers about, like, do they like this or not? And because they might not know, and they're willing to admit they don't know.
Yeah.
And so I do a lot of like little cold studies with a select group of people.
That's
I'll
cool.
say, like, hey, do you like this video or this video style?
And then they'll
help me. And sometimes it's usually 50-50, but
yeah.
So what I've done is I've kind of isolated even segments of audience, so like younger, like Gen Z, millennials,
really,
boomers, to help curate my content.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're getting way into it, and you have the people who are interested in that content too. So, that's
and then
cool.
I got to shout out there's a guy named Steve Liddy. So he's our VP of marketing.
Okay.
And at first I thought we were going to clash really hard. Like I did. I thought we were going to clash. And because he comes from just a different train of thought when it comes to marketing. He's been around a little longer. A lot of the traditional methods of marketing, but the exact opposite happened.
Really?
He actually very quickly leaned in and trusted me on the social side. He's like, you're a pro at it. Like, that's not my world.
Do it. Wow.
I'm not a huge designer / like traditional marketer guy.
Yeah.
So I leaned on him for that side of it. And now I think between him and I, we know we have a good relationship. We joke with each other all the time. I think he's, for lack of a better word, like a hidden gem in the industry, because he has so much rich knowledge, and he is helping me learn a lot of that. And like knowing the past helps you know the future.
Right.
And so,
because there's been
so much.
Yeah,
he's had
cycles.
So much experience between several different OEMs.
Wow. OEM is what?
An original engineered manufacturer. So
Okay.
we take parts that are engineered from like Lippert or Dexter or all these different suppliers in the area, Genesis.
Furion.
Furion's now Lippert.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it'd be like Patrick and Lippert and those guys.
Yep.
And then we take those originally engineered parts and we build it into something complete.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what OEM means.
Gotcha.
So most manufacturers are OEMs.
Yeah.
They don't engineer their original part.
They're just putting pieces together.
Putting it all together. Yeah.
Which is so cool. That's our whole area is just built on manufacturing.
Well, think about this. So when I was in Kiwanis,
nice.
There was a guy named Jerry Trolls. I still think about things he's said to me to this day.
Wow.
And I would say, if I had the time to commit to go to Kiwanis every Tuesday, I'm still a member. I join every year.
Yeah.
I just don't go. Sorry, guys.
He's
but
busy.
I used to sit with Jerry.
He's got his business and his kids. I mean, community is.
Yeah.
You talked about it. Yeah. Sorry, go. You sit with Jerry.
So I'd sit with Jerry. R.I.P. He's now gone. But absolute legend. I would be like, I was ignorant, right? Like I thought I knew it all. Like you always think you know it all at whatever age you're at. So like I try to think of myself like, okay, now like, do I know it all now? Or in 10 years, well, I'll be like, man,
I didn't know
you were an idiot at 35, dog.
I didn't know anything.
And so there was I don't remember who it was. There's someone at the table that was talking about like, man, manufacturers are just so challenging to work with, and they're stubborn, and they're like, they have low IQs, and like he was kind of berating them, and I wasn't disagreeing with him.
Right.
right? I was like, yeah, they're very challenging to work with, especially from a marketing side because they don't understand how marketing works.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And Jerry, man, he set us straight real fast.
Really?
He goes, so who built that chair that you're sitting on? Who built this table that we're sitting at? Who manufactured those lights? Who processed the wood?
Yeah.
Who, like, literally everything that we look at, touch, feel came from manufacturing.
Yeah.
Like, till this day, I don't not think about that.
Wow.
Like your car,
Yeah.
your desk,
Right.
your shoes, your
Laptop, your mics, your everything.
Everything was manufactured,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
So without manufacturing, what would we be?
Right. Sticks and stones and
Farming still.
yeah.
Right? Like
right.
with
hunter-gatherer.
Hunter-gatherer style. Yeah. So like manufacturing was the catalyst to where, like, how we got to the current position. And I'm just like, man, you know, I wouldn't be able to enjoy so many of the things I love
if
without
it wasn't for that.
manufacturing.
Yeah.
Changed my whole perspective on manufacturing.
Wow. Yeah. Shout out to Jerry.
Yeah, huge. I mean, absolute legend in the industry. He owned a company called Goshen Stamping, and
Oh yeah. Okay.
I think
it's over by like
over by the railroad tracks off 9th Street.
Oh okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Just absolute legend. He was such a champion to the community. Man, I just want to be like him when I grow up.
Yeah.
Just loved by everybody and just a true champion that cares for just everybody.
Yeah.
But you know,
A good influence on the community.
I did talk. He had a big influence on on a big decision to kind of step back from the community aspect, because I told him I was like, man, I'm just struggling between balancing the three. And he's like, well, step back from one.
Wow.
And he's like one you can't step back from,
Family.
right? Family.
Yeah.
The other, if you step back from it, you could potentially put your family at risk.
Right.
The third one is going to be around no matter what
Right.
happens.
Right.
Right. You can be a part of it or you can't. And so he said, it's better to take a step back for a decade and build the other two,
Yeah.
so that when you come back, you have a healthy relationship with it.
That makes so much sense.
And so if I'm taking a decade off, my kids are going to be middle school, high school. They're going to be more self-sufficient. They're
Right.
going to be able to become part of it.
Right.
I'm going to be able to bring them to things. And they're not just little kids where I have to watch and hawk and make sure they don't die.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to be like, no, we're going to go volunteer and rake someone's yard.
Right.
Or no, you're going to come to Kiwanis booth with me at the fair and you're going to help me make burgers.
Right.
Like,
The pounder.
yeah. And
So good.
or like, hey, let's go walk dogs at the Humane Society.
Right.
So
That's cool.
yeah, that's really why, like, that's the biggest reason why I decided to take a step back
Yeah. Well, it makes
from
sense.
community.
Well, and you're probably finding that even though you step back, you're still a part of it.
Yeah,
Like,
I
you
mean, no
can't
matter
get away
what, you're
from
part of it. And you know what I found really rewarding lately is my wife has become more a part of the community, especially in Napanee.
Yeah.
Being a teacher over there,
Mm-hmm.
she's just getting more rooted into Napanee, and I think she feels it's more of her place, because I have zero roots in Napanee.
Right.
Like, I'm a Goshen boy.
Right.
So like, you walk around Goshen and it's like, oh, you're a Mehl. Like, we've been here since the inception of Goshen.
Yeah.
So I have deep roots in Goshen. I'm, to my heart, to my core, I'm still a Goshen boy.
Right.
And it is a little bit hard, I'm not gonna lie,
Being in Napanee.
being like rooting for Panthers.
So the rest.
But hey, they're going to semi-state in football
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
So good luck to you,
I will
Panthers.
say Panthers have way better football program.
They do have a better football program, and that hurts to say.
Yeah.
Especially being like playing football in Goshen from 3rd grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to a Rotary meeting, and the guy who is running the program now was talking about it. And they only have 33 kids in their program.
I heard they had to forfeit a couple freshman games because
Yeah.
they don't have enough kids.
Yeah, that's
That just hurts.
Yeah.
And then the football program just lost a legend, Steve Swihart.
yeah.
He was a middle school teacher.
Oh, yeah.
But he also was a lifelong football coach. He actually played in a state championship and coached in a state championship.
Wow.
He's like one of the only Goshen kids to do that.
Wow.
Absolute legend of a man. Just loved his family. Loved Goshen football.
Yeah.
He bled it. He was all about it.
Yeah.
So that was a hard loss because he was an icon in the football world.
Yeah.
Just a good dude too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just tough. It's tough. It's shifting in Goshen.
Yeah, Goshen is shifting. It is, and I talk about that with my mom. Like, Goshen's just a different dynamic. It things evolve always.
Yeah.
And it's not always for better or for worse. I mean, still
just
have a
wild
great band program, still have a great
music program,
better soccer program now.
Yeah, different football.
Right? Different football, yeah. David Beckham's football.
Yeah.
And which you can't complain. Like you have a killer soccer program, killer music program.
Yeah, music's point.
I don't know how the school academically is doing, but I do know that my wife came from a very small school. Like I think our class was like 55, 60 people.
Wow.
My class was like 550.
Right.
When I graduated from Goshen, and I think they're even a little bit bigger now.
Yep. So having that small town feel back, and it
found a happy medium.
Yeah.
And we're only 20 minutes from Goshen.
Yeah.
20 minutes from Elkhart, 20 minutes from Goshen,
It's a
25
nice
minutes
spot.
from Warsaw.
And I feel like Napanee is just, it's like this. It's got this hometown feel.
It's got a good vibe to it, dude.
Yeah.
Like it's chill.
Mm-hmm. Good place to raise a family.
Everyone there is like pretty happy. Like it reminds me of Goshen growing up.
Right.
Like I get a lot of the same vibes taking my kids around.
In the past 2 years, have you had to kick off any meth heads from your front door? I have. Okay.
No. Yeah.
I think it was fentanyl. No big deal. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, exactly. Like I have.
I kind of like
No
that though.
qualms.
It's all
I know. We were talking this morning actually about shoes at work, and I usually like the old, like the Jordan 12s or Jordan 11s are like my favorite Jordans ever.
Yeah.
But they're like a bit big and clunky, and one of the guys at work goes, "Oh, dude, those are like ghetto shoes though." And I was like, "Where do you think I'm from?"
Yeah.
Like 6th Street in Goshen.
Yeah.
Where do you think I got my style from?
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah.
But yeah, no. So then Alliance, have found success.
Yeah. Well, I
Got that 40 under 40.
Yeah, 40 on 40 was
huge.
massive. I was going to say, I remember when you went to Forest River, I think you were, and I might be wrong, but one of the first people doing TikToks, walkthroughs, right?
So yeah, let's hit that story.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Because I see them all the time on Twitter and on like mainstream Twitter influencers posting stuff.
I started TikTok a year and a half before COVID.
Okay.
And
So 2018, 2019, right in there.
2018, yeah. I started TikTok, and I started as the RV dad.
Okay.
I was the RV dad because Forest River didn't approve TikTok as an official platform where we could post.
Rule breaker, right?
So I was like, well, what's the loophole? I'll just do my own TikTok.
Yeah.
And so every time we would have a unit in the studio to film, like traditional style, I would then shoot a quick vertical format, and I would test. I would shoot I shot 5,000 different ways.
Wow.
I was just trying to figure out what worked.
Right.
And finally, one day, I was like, man, what if I could get through the whole unit in 60 seconds?
Yeah.
And so I literally I got my DJI Osmo mobile, and I ran through the unit. And I ran through it. It was like a minute 05.
Oh, wow.
So I just threw it into like a little editing software, and I speed ramped the parts that in my head didn't matter.
Right.
It was just
walking between
certain pieces of, and so that video got like 25 million views.
Wow. Wow.
That validated TikTok then.
Yeah.
Literally the next month, COVID came.
Oh, wow.
And so they were like, well, okay, we'll make TikTok an official platform. We can start using it, but you have to let other people post on it. And I was like, all right, fine, let's go. Yeah. I'm all about raising the brand anyway.
Yeah.
And so gave several other people access to it, and we just found tremendous success. Wow. I mean, we went from I grew it to 15 to 20,000 followers by myself.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we started, as soon as I got that 25 million view, we hit banger.
Wow.
And we had so many good hit. We grew it to about 700K.
Wow.
Yeah. And, I will say that as far as I'm aware, and I've had other people tell me this as well for validation, is we were the first.
Wow.
As far as doing RV content on there.
Yeah. And it's huge.
We're not the first RV content people. There are YouTubers, there's Facebook, there's Instagram.
But that walkthrough style that you do.
Yeah, speed ramping. Yeah.
Yeah, you pioneered it.
Yeah. So
to our knowledge.
To our knowledge. And to my knowledge.
I said with a legend.
Dude,
oh my goodness.
Yeah. And then obviously people, reinvented the wheel and came up with new styles and started doing voiceovers.
That's how it all does.
Yeah. And it just got better and better and better and better. Yeah. And me as a content marketer at heart, dude, I get so much joy out of it. I don't even care if you're not even with my brand or part of Forest River or whatever.
Right.
Or even part of Alliance. If you got 35 million views on an RV.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Yeah.
That's eyes on the lifestyle.
Well, and I'm seeing young people working for like Camping World or different places like that, doing their own content.
Yeah. So
and busting out of the stratosphere with their content.
There's
it's cool.
a guy used to work for Holiday World in Texas.
Okay.
And he had Miles RV reviews.
Yeah.
And he got so big that he literally quit his job, and now he's a full-time content creator.
That's wild.
And he's trying to branch out into like not just RVs, but like cars and boats. And
good luck.
Yeah, right.
Good luck, Miles. No, for real.
He's doing good. Good dude. But like, I love it. I think there's so much negative that happens on social media, and the news loves to pound the negativity of it.
Yeah.
But man, if you look for the positivity in it, you will find it, man. Like, my TikTok, literally, because I'll watch TikTok with the kids, I'll admit it.
Oh God.
But it's all talking animals, RVs, and sports, and motivational quotes. Like, literally, that's my entire. Like, I'll pull it out right now, and I'll let you guys swipe through it.
Yeah.
That's what it is curated for.
I don't want the Chinese to see me. No.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like, there's the whole like the Chinese thing around it. And people get a little scared of that. And it's like, okay, at the end of the day,
fear is a mover and shaker. Everyone's trying to motivate you.
Yeah. At the end of the day, though, like, what are they gonna know? Like, you ate like a huge breakfast at Denny's.
Yeah.
That's fine, in my opinion. Yeah. Like, I'm not a secret guy.
Yeah.
Like, my life is out there. My wife knows everything I know. Yeah. So the worst that's going to happen is like they know something that's private between me and my wife.
Right.
Which at the end of the day, I'd be like, yeah. So
yeah. No, it's dumb. It's the fear is a motivator. People are trying to make you make decisions based on fear.
Yeah.
We see that all the time. And I feel like, they're doing it with TikTok. They're doing it with social media.
They do it with social media. And so if you are looking for if you want to start following something that is zero politics, zero like negativity, Alliance RV, like we have all positivity.
Yeah. You guys are doing cool stuff too.
We do a lot of cool stuff. Like, we really support I've never worked at a place. This is how I frequently explain it. So when and maybe some of you guys can relate to this, but sometimes there's a misfire in the cylinder in your engine. So say your company is the engine, right? There's a misfire in there, and everyone knows it, and there's something very obvious about it, but it's hard to fix it, right? Especially because you're driving, you're going 100 miles per hour trying to get, make your company better.
Right.
I've never worked at a place where all the cylinders are just
really.
Yeah, no one's misfiring.
Wow.
Don't get me wrong, like, there's things where we can improve upon. We're not a perfect company.
Right.
But the leadership is dialed in.
Things are smooth.
They just give a shit about people.
Yeah.
Like,
that's important.
It's so important.
How crazy is that?
It's so important. Like,
hey, we care about you.
They do.
Yeah.
Like, we obviously
instead of being a number,
we're coming into the industry shutdown, which is normal.
Yeah.
But some plants are 6, 7, 8 weeks.
Wow.
We're only 3.
Wow.
We're really trying to care for our employees. I care about every single one that works there. Like, I'm just because I won a 440 doesn't mean shit.
Right.
Like, without their hard work, I wouldn't have product market.
Right.
And so
it's a team
I
effort.
work incredibly hard to help keep them employed. The sales team works incredibly hard to help keep the team employed. Like, we all work together because we have the same mission.
Yeah.
And without each other, we all fail.
Right.
And so staying humble and just being like, I love walking through the plant with the owners just because, like, they're all genuinely happy to see them. And like, the fact that they still do walk through and buy shirts for everybody. We have this big company picnic where we had all 600 employees, most of them that could make it, actually come and bring their family. We had like 6 inflatable bounce house things. We had the Chief ice cream there.
Oh, let's go.
We had a DJ there. He was actually an employee. He has his own DJ company.
That's cool.
And we had Nelson's food we catered to him.
So
dude,
good.
It was just such a cool event. And like, everyone there has had fun, no drama.
Yeah.
And I just, it's so cool. And anytime there is something that's off, and, because not everyone has a perfect day every day.
Right.
It gets addressed. Like, they feel comfortable going to the supervisor and being like, hey, A, B, C, D, F, G.
Right.
And then, like, they don't approach it from emotional standpoint. They approach it from like, okay, how can we actually get better? How can we solve this problem that we're having?
Right.
And I've never worked anywhere.
It's not just a reaction, because there's a lot of the like reactive, like, hey, this is a problem. How dare you?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And I mean, you hear those stories from people in this area that work in factories. It's not fun sometimes.
It's not. Yeah. And it's a grind. Like, it's the production teams, they grind hard.
Yeah, they're going hard.
They go hard. And it's an exhausting job. You're pretty tedious because you're typically doing the same thing for the most part.
Yep.
And you can be sweaty if it's really hot outside. We do have temperature controlled environments, but you still have to open and close the doors to bring stuff
Things
in.
are moving and shaking.
Yeah. So it's a tough job, man, and I feel for them.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to be as positive as I can out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. I know the shutdown, people are a little worried, but then I see other companies investing in different things. I know like Jayco just did a huge, they're paving all their lots, cementing it, you know,
for the product,
because it used to be that gravel. I know you guys do asphalt, you have it all paved because it actually the wears and tears on the inventory that's sitting out there.
Yep.
And so there's still massive investment going into.
Oh yeah,
you don't spend millions of dollars on paving stuff. It's like,
if you go back, and I've spent some time looking back at historical data, if you go back and look at the RV industry is going nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, people are always going to want an RV.
Yeah.
They're always going to want to camp. They're always going to want to explore in different ways.
Right.
And
now other countries are wanting that too.
And now, I mean, we have a dealer in Qatar and in UK now.
Wow.
And it's just growing. But if you look back, this is the time when market share is up for grab, because you're going to have players that get comfortable, right? And they're just like, we're just going to keep doing things the way we do things.
Yep.
And then you're going to have innovators.
Yep.
And then you're going to have like the true innovator, game changer people that want to make the industry better.
Right.
And those that are chasing to make the industry better, Jayco,
right,
making some of those moves,
right.
That's market share for grab.
Yep.
And that's what's going to happen. I know everyone in marketing, sales positions, like the C-suite people, they all are thinking it. Every single one of them. But are they executing on it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can they execute if they're in a slow-moving machine that can't move? You know, you're a long, big tugboat, and unless you're a nimble, sailing, you got to be able to move and shake in these times.
Yep.
So that's wild. All right, let's finish with the 40 and 40. Okay. 45 minutes, dude.
That's
good.
crazy.
Yeah, we're rolling. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
No, I appreciate it, man. I have to give you all my time.
My goodness. Talk me through what that was like getting that award. We'll go back to the 40 and 40.
All right. So,
did you know you were nominated?
So yeah, they published like a little thing like a month before. I didn't know I would win. My boss did come up and tell me he did nominate me. He's like, "Hey, just FYI, I nominated you." He's like, "A couple other people may have too." I was like, "Cool." Like,
thank you. I appreciate.
Literally, I was like, "Thank you. I appreciate that you do that for me." And then I went the other way. Just kept doing my thing. And then one day, I actually was working from home because my daughter was sick, and I end up opening my email and checking it. They do this every day at noon. All the industry magazines publish like this little daily e-blast.
Gotcha.
And they said, 40 under 40 list for RV Pro. And I was like, oh yeah, cool. You did that for me. Let me go see if I won. And I clicked on it and scrolled down, and there's my name.
And you were in the 40 under 40?
And I was in the 40 under 40. I was like, God dang, let's go. So that was the moment that surprised me. I was like, oh, heck yeah. Like, this was a goal of mine for a long time.
Yeah.
Was win a 40 under 40 before I turned 40.
Right.
Did it with 5 years to spare. And so found out I was going to win it. I was already going to be in Vegas anyway for the conference that we had out there. One of my roles at Alliance is to develop and grow the dealer marketing angle. So a lot of the sales guys have relationships with like the general managers and the sales reps and things like that. But a lot of our dealers have marketing teams, or sometimes a marketing team of one, but they are often overlooked.
Right.
And so one thing that I really pride myself on is I was given a dealer list day one when I was at Alliance, and I've worked my way through that whole list.
Wow.
And I've called and emailed every single one of those marketing people,
just
or I figured out who it is.
Right.
And I'm like, anything you need from Alliance, let me know.
Yeah.
Some of them use it, some of them don't, depending on the size of the company. But I will literally make content for a dealer and I'll send it one off.
Wow.
And
That's so cool.
That's such a powerful relationship tool. I also got kind of the swag put under my belt. And so I help people with hats and sweatshirts and hoodies.
I got a duck.
Yeah, you got a duck?
Yes,
I got the duck. Yeah, we're actually going to be dropping alligators.
No way. Okay.
Alligators.
All right, hit me up,
We
man.
call Alliance. The Alliance owners are called allies, so we're going to call them alligators.
Yeah. I love it.
Little toy alligators.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, we're gonna, for the Super Show in Tampa, we're going to do that.
That's cool.
So this is a little sneak peek. If any allies are watching this, you know it's coming.
Get it up. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, what's the next award you're gonna win that you want to win?
That I want to win?
You've hit it all. You've made it.
I'm sure there's one out there. I mean, awards aren't all to me. I don't know. I just want to be a game changer. I just want to be known as like that dude didn't rest. Like that dude went hard.
Yeah.
Like
I think you're already in my book. You're there, dude. But
you can't quit even when you think you're there. Right. Like there's moments when I'm like, that's a good piece of content. Like,
yeah.
And then
what's that 150 million,
dude? So I'm determined to like, I want to be part of a brand development that. So right now I would say Airstream's kind of the golden boy of marketing when it comes to RVs. They're iconic. Mm-hmm. You know, everyone knows an Airstream when they see an Airstream. Yeah. Right.
It's got that look and feel.
Back in like the late 80s, early 90s, all RVs were referred to as Winnebago.
Right.
Right.
Right. It's like Kleenex.
Right. Facial tissues.
Right.
I mean, this is the ultimate goal that I'm chasing, to be completely honest. Like, number one, be a great husband and father.
Right.
Right. Develop that and just grow that relationship in this many
that's going to be way
ways
more fruitful than anything you could ever do. Yeah.
Eventually I'm going to retire.
Right.
And what I'm going to have?
Yeah.
I'm going to have them.
Right.
And so
25 million TikTok viewed video. But yeah, and
hopefully
them.
like 8 billion. But anyway,
every single person
on the planet.
Yeah.
And so that kind of leads into what my ultimate goal is. I want to be part of an iconic brand. I want to be part of that development that got us from 8,000 followers to become that just name recognized. Everyone's like, oh yeah, that's Alliance.
Yeah. That's cool.
And I'm fighting that battle every day. That's my battle I'm fighting. Like, there's little battles, little victories, little losses along the way, but ultimately at the end of the day, I'm going for. You pull in, you're driving, you pull into a dealership, you're talking casually in conversation, and instead of saying RV, you say Alliance.
Wow.
Wow. That's what I want.
That's cool.
So if I can get there, then I will hang my hat and I will happily pass it on to the next generation.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Like, I'm big on like the next generation. Like, that we established that very early in our relationship. Mm-hmm. I want to be part of something bigger to like truly empower the next generation. I don't think the next generation we're millennials, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think Gen Z is lazy. I just think they're misguided.
Yeah.
Just like people think millennials are misguided. Like, oh, you could buy a house if you stop buying avocado toast and Starbucks. Like, bro, I don't buy Starbucks.
Yeah.
I buy Main Street coffee from downtown Napanee.
Yeah, exactly.
And avocado toast is delicious. Have you tried it?
Yeah. Also, we're not going to have Parkinson's like you guys because we are eating avocado toast.
Right?
Sorry.
And so that was a little mean. It's okay. It's okay.
Just seeing what's happening. Sorry, just calling to see it.
But I really want the next generation to be more successful than me.
Yeah.
Like, I might not be the guy that gets the brand there.
Right.
But maybe I'll find the guy.
Well, you put the bones in place or the platform that
yeah.
they can step into and then just.
So I want to be just like that pivotal piece that like set the train in motion. And maybe it takes another 10 years after I hang my hat. But if we get there, that'd be amazing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the man, dude.
Dude, you're the man.
Bro.
I love you.
Dude, I love you too. Thank you so much for being willing to come over and rock this out, man.
Anytime.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how you've been shifting and changing. I can't wait to see it.
You have too. Yeah. COO, dog.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you got a kid now.
Yeah,
beautiful wife.
Dude, it's wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
To think.
Dude, you're crushing it, man.
Bro, that fateful night where we both ended up at that winery, who would have guessed?
Who would have guessed that our relationship is still that, like,
love it.
I think what matters is we're both positive people.
Yeah.
And positive people like positive people.
You attract what you are in a way, you know? Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And I love just hanging out with positive people. If you're a negative person, I'll tend to cut you out of my life.
Yeah.
I'll just be like, don't need that. That's not my juju.
Yeah. Well, and it pulls you down sometimes.
It pulls you down. Yeah.
I have certain people that I really love, you know, because you've had that relationship for so long.
Yeah.
It's like you can be an impact on them, but it is.
Where do you draw the line?
Right. And you only have so much energy.
You only have so much energy. Yeah. Your time is finite. Your energy is finite.
Yep.
And you have such a limited time on this earth. And that's taken me a while to learn. Like, I used to believe, like, I mean, I knew I wasn't invincible, but like you felt it, you know?
Yeah.
And that was some stuff that happened to me. It's just, you know, hey, I'm not invincible. You have finite time. You got to spend it right.
Yep.
And I'm guilty. I'm not always spending my time the best way I should be. Okay. You know, I'm probably on my phone too much, still working too much.
Yeah.
But I try harder than I have in the past. That's for sure.
Oh, it's so important. My wife, she's big into gardening. And
okay.
I just see so much from gardening, dude. It's crazy. Yeah. Like the seeds planted and stuff. But it really is, if you focus on something, you will see a bigger return. And there's only so many plants in the garden you can focus on too.
Yeah.
But each season's different, and so there's a lot of life.
Life is gardening, dog.
Dude, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I
believe
life
that.
is a garden. So dig it, dude.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, I love it, man. So, you have to come when we do our garden. I've been doing in the summertime podcasts in my garden.
Oh, I saw one.
Yes.
Yeah. That was good.
And
yeah.
So that's really fun.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm glad we're not in the basement. We got natural light coming in, and it makes my skin look a little better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love it. Well, yeah, beautiful skin. So,
thank you.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you? Let's do a call. Plug yourself.
I don't. My personal socials, like I work social. Mm-hmm. So my personal socials are mostly like just people I know and family and friends and like. But if you really want to get to know like what I do in my work, go to @AllianceRV on any social platform.
Yep. Where's that YouTube that people can find of your old videos? Let's do that. Is that okay?
So my YouTube channel, I don't upload to it anymore.
Yeah.
But
it's an archive.
If you just search Joe Mehl, you're gonna find I'm like the only. There's like one other Joe Mehl, and he has like a landscaping company.
Yeah.
So not the landscaper, the other guy. But if you search Joe Mehl on YouTube, JoeMehl on YouTube, you'll find me and Timon's old videos.
Yeah.
Or if you just want to see some of the work that I'm doing and directing and leading, would be @AllianceRV.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.